Hey guys, I'm Dr. Keira Lewis. Today I want to give you a Menstrual Cycle 101, so an overview of what the menstrual cycle looks like. So I'll start with day 1 of the cycle. Day 1 of the cycle is the first day of consistent bleeding, so not the spotting, unsure if you're having a period or not. It's first day, yes you have a period, that's day 1, so that's where you count your cycle from. So in those early stages, our hormones are very low. We have LH, luteinizing hormone, and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, coming from the pituitary down to the ovaries. So the FSH is particularly important in this follicular stage to stimulate the ovary to then start to produce estrogen. So in this follicular stage, we're going to have a gradual buildup of estrogen in our system. Once estrogen gets to a certain threshold, it's then going to stimulate that LH surge from the pituitary. So the LH surge is the LH coming from the brain down to the ovary to then trigger ovulation. So ovulation is an egg being released from the ovary. What's left behind after the egg's released is what's called the corpus luteum. So the corpus luteum is where we get our progesterone from. So if we are not ovulating, you do not have progesterone in your system. I want to be very clear about that. So the luteal phase of the cycle is when our body starts to produce starts to build up on the progesterone. So we're going to have high estrogen as well as progesterone throughout this luteal phase. That's where we can start to see some of those PMS symptoms showing their head. Your body is preparing potentially to be housing a baby that cycle. If there is no fertilization or implantation, then we get our ovaries then drop the progesterone and estrogen. So that rapid drop in the concentration of those hormones is then what triggers the endometrium to release the uterine lining that cycle. So you should have a nice dramatic drop of those hormones will then trigger a very clear period, meaning you don't have those spotty days before when your period comes, it shows up. So that's a little bit of an insight into your hormone health, is how and when your period shows up. Another thing, or another insight into your hormone health would be the length of your overall menstrual cycle. Textbook says it's around 28, not usually the case. It can go from down to 26 up to 35, and that can be totally normal. It's when you have those irregular ones. So say it's 27 days one month, and then the next month you're up at 42, and then the next month you're down to 31. So when it's scattered, that's when you want to be a little bit wary. Am I ovulating that month? What are my hormones doing? Am I stressed? What is changing, and what's causing this irregular rhythm? Humans are very much so creatures of habit. All of our hormones ebb and flow in a cycle, and we should have a nice rhythm to it. If you are out of rhythm, that's a good insight that you need to do some work with your hormones. For those longer cycles, so 35 plus is kind of the cutoff, but you can't be sure that you're ovulating in those longer cycles just because if you have ovulation, you get the progesterone. With the progesterone drop, that triggers a period. But if you don't get ovulation, estrogen's kind of waiting for progesterone to happen. Eventually your ovaries are like, okay, it's not happening this cycle, and it gradually peters off, and that's what triggers an anovulatory period, more common with the longer irregular cycles. And then with the shorter cycles, so in between like the 21 to 28 days, you want to be sure about what part of the cycle is shorter. Is it the follicular phase or the luteal phase? If it's the luteal phase, so when progesterone is supposed to be robust, if that's being shortened and you're having early periods, your body may not be exposed to A, enough progesterone, and B, if it doesn't have enough progesterone, it's not going to be able to house and keep a baby in those early stages. So things to consider with irregular cycles. In future videos, I'm going to dive into the nitty-gritty of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, what they do for you, and then we'll go from there.